In just over a decade, Brandon Uranowitz has built an incredible Broadway career in plays and musicals and picked up 3 Tony Award nominations along the way. I would love to walk through the career of Brandon Uranowitz with Brandon Uranowitz. I just love saying your name.
Do you?
Brandon Uranowitz, Brandon Uranowitz.
That's uncommon, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too.
How's
Thanks for
Broadway
having me.
treating you? You're in another hit.
Oh, would you believe it? It's amazing. I feel so grateful and so lucky. I'm thrilled.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're starting here at the newly beautiful Hudson Theater.
Gorgeous.
You were in Burn This, which
I
is
was.
actually one of my favorite 80s plays. Lamford Wilson.
Oh my God.
You played Larry.
I did.
Fantastic character. A gay
Super
man
fun.
in 1980s
A gay
New York
man in
City.
the 80s.
You are a proudly out actor, and
Sure am.
you've been able to explore some great gay men characters.
Yeah, I have.
Including Larry. That was a really...
That was really fun. And it was the first time I got to play like a gay character on Broadway.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting, and I felt a big responsibility to the community and to gay people everywhere to represent, to be out and to be open and proud, and it was a big moment for me.
You got another Tony nomination.
I did.
That's your most recent Tony.
That is my most
your
recent.
most recent
yeah.
pre-COVID Tony nomination.
Pre-COVID, yeah. Which was just sort of like, you know, icing on the cake.
Let's keep walking and see what else you've done. Let's
Okay,
go.
let's do it.
Brandon, you made your Broadway debut across the street at the Broadhurst. I'm glad I saw Baby It's You because I got to see you.
I'm glad you got to see it.
It ran a few months.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, but not a hit.
Not a huge hit.
Not a
No.
huge hit,
But
but-
like, to be honest, that was not really on my radar at that point in my life. I couldn't get over the fact that this was where I would come to work every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over the fact that I would come here every day, do what I was doing, and then like look at my bank account and there'd be actual money in it. And also like I met some incredible people on that show. I met my partner of almost 12 years on that show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
My beautiful, wonderful, amazing partner, Zach, was my standby, which sounds crazy and like weirdly narcissistic, but we're very different. Very similar, but very different. I mean, it happened like pretty early. I was like very obsessed with him very early on.
Wow.
But we like played it cool. We were professional.
Okay.
We were professional about it. But like also, you know, the thing that happens when you're in something that is not a hit and is not particularly received well, you sort of like, to a degree, end up trauma bonding together,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
to hold each other up. So it ended up actually being a really wonderful experience in many ways.
So when you're falling in love with your standby, do you ever like wake up and go, honey, you can go on?
Well, no, see, that's the thing is that Zach like never ever wanted to go on, and like he was, right from the start, he was like, take care of yourself. Don't you ever get sick.
No one's judging you. You were young.
I was young. I was making my Broadway debut. I learned.
And then after your Broadway debut, the offers just poured in. So let's keep walking and see what else we got.
I hate him.
This is the Samuel J. Friedman Theater, home of MTC, Manhattan Theater Club.
Manhattan Theater Club.
You did a very special show here, Prince of Broadway, honoring the career of Hal Prince and working with Hal Prince.
It's like a bucket list thing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was like not even a thing that was part of my like list of dreams that I was hoping would come true. It was like so far out of reach for me that I would work with someone like that. And then to work with him and have him be such a kind, generous soul was like, again, beyond anything I could have ever possibly imagined in my career.
So let's talk about this. So you were recreating amazing moments from musical theater history, which Hal Prince was tied to all of them. Any really memorable moments or conversations with Mr. Prince?
I'll never forget the first time I did dressing them up for Hal in the room. He turned to Susan Stroman. They were sitting like sort of watching as I was doing it, and I was in the middle of it, and he just turns to Strone. He just goes, he's so good.
Oh.
And I was like,
Hey, look, it's the Barrymore Theater. You did the band's visit here.
I did.
You weren't in the original cast.
I was
you,
not.
You were
I replaced John Cariani. It was 4 of the best months of my entire life.
Really?
Like, it was one of the greatest experiences, one of the most incredible groups of people. When I got the offer, I hadn't seen it yet. And I was like, well, I mean, let me see it first. Within 2 minutes, I was like, I don't even care. I don't care what my character does. I don't care if I say nothing. I don't care if I walk across the stage for 2 seconds. I have to be a part of this.
I think we're in front of the Palace Theater.
Hard to tell. Hard to tell.
There's a very long renovation.
They're lifting the palace
Lifting
30
the
feet in the air, which makes me nervous because it's really beautiful. I hope they don't ruin it.
You did a beautiful musical there, An
did.
American in Paris.
Yeah.
I actually first saw it in Paris.
You did?
Yeah, you got
You were there?
Yeah,
I did.
I saw it in Paris.
Yeah, I really loved being able to tell people, yeah, I'm working on this new show. We're going out of town, and usually people are like, oh, where are you going? You're going to Boston. You're going to DC, and I was like, no, we're going to Paris.
For months.
We're going to Paris. Yeah, for months. It was wild. When we were doing it out of town in Paris, we had never fully run the show start to finish without stopping. The morning of our invited dress rehearsal, we were supposed to do a run through, and one of the sets flew up into the flies, snapped in half, and fell onto the stage. So we had to cancel our final run through. So the invited dress was the first time that we had run the show start to finish without stopping.
Wow.
On Broadway, the invited dress is like a smattering of your friends and family, right? We didn't realize, but in Paris, the invited dress was a sold-out house. So we did our invited dress for 2,000 people for the first time going start to finish without stopping. And it went off without a hitch. We didn't have to stop.
Wow.
It was great. They leapt to their feet at the end, and we all wept.
What was it like being around all those dancers?
No, I felt really insecure all the time. I was like, oh, I need to fix my diet, I guess. I need to work out more, I guess. You look great. I was so fascinated by their ability and so impressed by their talent. I was like, this is something I could never do. You're all incredible people. I don't know how you do it.
What a marquee at the Wontorek.
The best on Broadway.
You did one of my favorite of your credits, Falsettos. Beautiful.
One of mine too.
I've always loved that show, but that was a beautiful revival. I'm assuming this was a special show for you ahead of time, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of discovered Falsettos when I was like a young boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, there's a musical where a kid has a bar mitzvah?
And that's what you zeroed
I was
in
like,
on.
I'm in this musical? This musical is about me? It was like the first time I really felt like there was something about me on like in the musical theater canon, I guess.
Right.
And so it was really important for Jewish theater people, to be honest. And of course for, the gay community too.
That's what I was gonna say. It's really funny that you were like zeroed in on Jason. That's my story, but I'm assuming by the time you did
you're
it.
also talking about the complications of me being like a closeted Jewish boy
Sure.
in my youth, who was like trying to avoid that part of my identity
Right.
at all costs.
Yeah.
Obviously later when I came out, it blossomed into a whole new meaning for me. And to be part of this from the beginning, I felt like we created lightning in a bottle. It was like the chemistry between all of us was palpable in the room. And I fought for it. I really did. I wanted it so badly.
People have such a special relationship with that show because when you weep in a theater with actors, it's intense.
Yeah, but that's also like why I do this.
Yeah.
I think it's why a lot of us get into this is because we have that experience as an audience member early on, and there's something so unique and special about having that group experience in a room, and you can't recreate it, and it's yours. And only you and the people that you were with that day can have that experience. Yeah. And that's sort of something that only theater can do.
The Longacre, your current home.
The beautiful Longacre.
Speaking of shows that deeply move people and incredible experiences all happening in a room at one time, that's happening every night at the Longacre with this play, which I want you to pronounce correctly for the world.
Leopoldstadt.
This is a beautiful play. So it's telling the story of a family, how the Holocaust affects them. That's a very generic way of describing it.
I mean, I would say, you know, I like try and steer the conversation around the play away from the Holocaust because it's actually more about how small, subtle instances or not so subtle instances of anti-Semitism affect this family, which then lead to this sort of ultimate tragedy. And the Holocaust is something that happens to them. It is a devastating conclusion to the things that happen around them. But the bulk of the play is to experience or to look through the peephole at this one extended family and how they choose to or choose not to endeavor to assimilate within, you know, the culture of the time, the dominant culture of the time, and whether or not that's a worthy endeavor, and how anti-Semitism affects that endeavor, and how anti-Semitism, small instances of anti-Semitism can accumulate and turn into something extraordinarily tragic. Before the anti-Semitism conversation in America got as loud and as it is, I had felt like I'd been waiting my whole life for this play. This is like when I dreamed of being an actor as a kid, this is the thing that I dreamed about ultimately. This sort of encompasses all of it. And to now be doing it as the line between the theater and the real world blurs, I feel an even bigger obligation to be telling this story. And so, as an actor, I feel like there's no other thing that I should be or could be doing right now.
As we actually have walked through your resume, and I see your career, it's even more special when I think about how many of these things were so important to you and how you've really been able to sort of express yourself in so many amazing ways. I mean, you must be extremely proud when you look at.
I am. I also consider myself outrageously lucky. When I look back at my career, I'm just so unbelievably grateful for the people that I've met along the way and the people who have helped me get to where I am and the people that I've worked with to be a part of a community of people who try and change the world through art in this way and give people that experience that we were talking about. Yes, I'm proud, but I'm also so unbelievably grateful for it.